evening and welcome to Friday night's Fools Rush In. I think it's fair to say if we were to ask any of the regular listeners or viewers to describe Fools Rush In one word, it would be cultured. And therefore, we would like to start tonight's episode with a poem. Fyfie is the ringmaster, and what an amazing job he does. To round up a bunch of legends and talk about the club they love. They're a team with a connection that's greater than Woody's Wi-Fi, which, given how awful it is, really isn't hard to come by. The live chat is always buzzing. It's where it all goes down, especially on a Monday night when the 69 girls are in town. Monday and Friday nights with a gang of bearded men, alluding to absolutely everything from 9 till 11 p.m. At first, they didn't let Nick speak. Now he's louder than ever before. He even has a sideshow, the Brilliant Hat Report. You don't always see much of Kieran and Wazza, but both of them are top blokes. Legend says if you clap your hands 3 times, they appear from behind Ned's vape smoke. If you happy clap too much, Rich's lights will turn on as well, as he sat there in the dark, waiting for the team to gel. Joe is a lovely bloke and a regular on the show. Ned is always full of laughter, especially at Garvina. If we're really lucky, Mark treats us with his witty red report, whilst Ben is appearing everywhere on his positivity tour. Craig is a smooth guy. He brings all the creativity. Claire is a beautiful human, adding all the great energy. Danny is like the annoying sister, either trolling or being nice. Mike Dixon and his clever humour add a little spice. Woody, one half of the Green Down Massive, loves a good debate, but will literally explode if Garv mentions the talents of Shade. Paddy is a legend. He's the joker of the pack. But we all know the real star of the show has got to be Fyfie's cat. And what a show it is, with laughs and fun aplenty. FRI, bringing fools together since 2020.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
A big thank you to Danny for the Fools Rush In poem. As we always say, we really can't thank anyone and everyone enough that supplies such quality content about our show. It blows our minds, really. Although not everyone was going to be happy, as Evening Liam, who's joined to hear exactly how much we waxed lyrical about Swindon's excellent performance the other night, didn't even get a mention. But before we talk football, let's say hello to tonight's panel, starting with the man who used to be Monday night exclusive, but is very much becoming Friday night was. Evening, Wazza.
Good evening, mate. I'm just stepping in for the president tonight, who can't make it tonight, the president of the Tom Clayton fan club. So I'm just stepping in for Joe tonight. But yeah, I'm loving the Friday nights at the moment. I don't know why it just works out that I can do a Friday now, which is really good. So,
well, whatever is making it possible, we're absolutely delighted that it is the case. Next up, someone else who very much enjoyed his afternoon and night in Bradford. Good evening, Ben.
Hey, Fyfie. Yeah, had a lovely day. Had a lovely day and evening. It was superb, and it's good to have a chat about it today.
No, it certainly is. Looking forward to it immensely. Next up, the man who didn't make the mistake that most of us did and booked himself a cheeky little hotel stay. Good evening, Nick.
Yeah, evening, Fyfie. Loved the poem. It's like Danny's raised the bar for us tonight, so we got to be on top form. So well done, Danny. Thanks very much.
Yeah, well done, Danny. That's superb.
Next up, completing our contingent of people that went to Bradford, let's say good evening to Woody. How are you, pal?
Jeremy, don't worry. Don't worry. I know Mark Hughes is a bully. No, it was a penalty. It was. Look, it's what you saw, Jeremy. Okay, don't get too downhearted. I've got to go, babe. Okay, I've got to go. All right. Much love. Thank you again. Oh, you're a sweetheart. Yeah. Ignore Liam as well. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah. Okay. Rules are rules. Okay, I've got to go, babe. Okay. Bye. Love you. Evening, fellas.
Evening, Woody.
How are we?
That's-
Oh, good, mate. Funny after that.
I am excellent, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I am stupendous. Thank you very much.
Good.
On form.
Mike's tweeted in already. So the name that this episode was given is Fyfie's voice back, and he's just replied, barely. We have got one more fool joining us tonight, and it is the man that makes everyone happier just by his presence. Good evening, Ned.
Good morrow.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. My connection seems a bit dodgy, so give me the old thumbs up gesture if
Woody Wi-Fi.
yeah. Oh, is it going?
No,
No.
it's fine.
It's fine.
Ignore it. utter carnage already.
Carnage already. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Completed the Christmas shopping now, so all pressure is off now
Incredible.
for the season.
It's not even November yet.
That's I did some shopping today.
Yes.
I bought Nige.
But Nige, where's Nige?
Yeah, where is he?
Nige.
Come on, Ben.
I can go get Nige. Give me a
Go
second.
get Nige. Well, I do some general housekeeping. So never one to shy away from a request. I've just got a couple of announcements before we get into tonight's episode. First one is both an announcement and somewhat of an apology, because I probably should have done this one, if not 2 episodes ago. But regular viewers and listeners might recall that I mentioned that my older brother, who sometimes appears in the chat comments, he and his partner were scheduled to have their baby. And as of the 17th of October, young Lily Belinda Kay Fyfie was born, weighing a very healthy 7 pounds 7 ounces. So congratulations to the entire Fyfie family for the latest edition. I can finally say I've done that one and not kept forgetting to do it. Also, special mention to big friend and fan of the show, Luke, whose birthday it is today, and we'll be celebrating with 3 points at Mansfield tomorrow. So happy birthday to Luke. And then the third one is a little bit of a random one, but I said I would do it. And that is to someone at work, a lady at work named Vic, who heard that I had a podcast and was interested, especially when I said it was on Spotify. So despite having no interest in football whatsoever, put it on a drive home from work one night and gave me some pretty good feedback, including along the lines of, we go off on, and I quote, many tangents. I was like, yeah. And the one thing that she did pick out is she overheard a conversation I was having at work about the podcast, and I mentioned the name Ned. And after listening, she now knows who Ned is. So Ned is becoming known in Leicestershire as well. So congratulations. If for any particular reason she's listening again, this is your shout out, Vic, that I promised you today I would do. Evening, Danny. I hope you heard the start. We read out your poem. Everyone really, really liked it.
Brilliant.
And there's Joe pointing out Ben's big nutcracker.
Big nuts.
Should we change his name to Big Nut Ben?
Yeah. It reminds me of Sarah, because she breaks my balls as well.
Oh.
Indeed, Claire. Ned is massive everywhere he goes. And then there's William Big Leicester Ned. Lots
I love a cheese, so we can call me Red Leicester Ned.
Oh, nice.
Red Leicester Ned.
Let's get into the proper reason we are here tonight. And as the headline says there, the Fools rushed Bradford. Tuesday night, Swing Town travelled away, and there was a fairly large contingent of Fools in attendance. As we said in the intro, the majority of tonight's panel was there. So let's talk about the game and the whole occasion. Let's start, in Rich's absence, with Woody.
I wasn't ready to be the start. I normally like to jump off at what everybody else is saying. So, yeah, I mean, I personally, and I said this to Waz on the way home, I said this to us on the way home. I actually really enjoyed the game. I think, even result aside, I think two very, in my opinion, very good attacking sides, who in the large parts of the game defended the game really well. So it's I think fair reflection as well. I think it was a fair reflection. They were the better side in the first half, and we were the better side in the second half. I think I don't know who their top scorer is, but we managed to keep him quiet most of the game. And
Cook, isn't it?
I think, is it Cook? Is that his name? Yeah. He wasn't serving anything. But
straight in there.
I think he's still in. I think he's still in Brennan's pocket. I think
in Brennan's pocket. Yeah. But no, it was really good. It was great to enjoy it with you lads. I think as well. I know that Fyfie, I think you have a slightly more negative view than the rest of us. I don't know if you thought a bit about that, but I genuinely thought
the irony when I was the most positive going into it, that I came away with the most negative reaction.
I think there were a few gaps in terms of, I don't think our midfield was brilliant, although on reflection of watching some of the highlights, you can see that that Khan does get involved a lot more than I thought he does. I think I was genuinely worried when we lost Blake Tracy. I thought, because that 15 minutes beforehand, Blake Tracy and Iandolo were just absolutely destroying them. There's no other way about it. They couldn't deal with those two, and then obviously it looked like Blake Tracy must have had a fight with the board or something, because I don't know what happened, but it turns out that he just had this absolutely gazing black eye and black jawbone.
And then just tweeted that it was a clash of heads.
Yeah, exactly. It looked, but they did sit off. I think Liam actually mentioned it to us at half time. They did sit off us a little bit for the first 15, 20 minutes, so that might have had an impact as well. And then they really hit us. I think that we couldn't do too much about the offside goal. But it's it was a great ball in. But like the handball, rules are rules. So it's onside. I think the liner didn't actually know. If I'm brutally honest, there's no way on a naked eye that you could see that as onside without being not in line with play. So he's either made an absolute Premier League top-notch call or he's guessed it. But either way, they argue about the handball, which was definitely a handball. It's overall I thought the second half was probably the best attacking performance we've had for definitely that I've seen this season. I haven't been to as many games as some of the other lads this season, but in terms of our intent was definitely there. We may not have always produced the quality, but the attacking intent was definitely the best of the second half.
Ben, you went into the game, should we say, uncharacteristically negative. What did you come away thinking?
Extremely positive after that. At half time, I was worried that my prediction was going to come true, because take the first 15, 20 minutes when we had the better of. The last 20, 25 minutes, we got battered. I mean, there was only one team in it, and Bradford only have themselves to blame. I think Liam's watching and he'll agree that they didn't kill the game off before half time, and they paid the price for that, because second half we were considerably better. And it's quite good, though we were facing a team with absolutely no defensive weaknesses and the best goalkeeper in the league, apparently. And one of them made a mistake and handed the ball in the box, which never happens, ever, apparently. But the ball definitely did hit his hand. I will say, in Bradford's defence, it's almost impossible to tell whether it was deliberate handball or whether it just hit him. I think only Halliday knows that himself. However, his hand was there. And as Liam once said to me after McCurdy got sent off, he let the referee make a decision. And he did by handling the ball. He let the referee make a decision where he could. And you see on TV all the time, defenders put their arms behind their back when crosses are coming in to stop that happening. If he'd done that, then they would have won. So it was handball. It was a penalty. It was much deserved. If you look at the stats, it was pretty even.
What I would say on that particular point, Ben, is obviously that the Swindon players knew that particularly the Bradford fans would claim it wasn't a penalty. So it was nice of Jeff Cott, I thought, to deliberately miss the penalty and score from open play.
Well, I thought he just playing 1-2 with the keeper just for giggles, But it's just he didn't want Penn next to his name, so obviously he played that deliberately off the keeper so he could smash in the rebound.
I like that thinking, Ben.
Yeah.
I like that.
So obviously it was deserved, and obviously we took our foot off the gas at the end just to save Mark Hughes' blushes. But in all fairness, if that had gone the other end, I know Mark Hughes was screaming foul at the end, and all the Bradford fans were agreeing with him. If it was the other end, absolutely he would have gone ballistic if he hadn't had that penalty. So it was a fair decision. How many penalties that we've had over the last few weeks that we could easily have had and not been given? So it's about time. And it was a deserved score. It was a deserved result. And I don't think anyone had complaints. And it was a thoroughly entertaining game of football against two teams who will be competing towards the top end of the league at the end of the season. And it fills me. I'm a lot more encouraged after that result, even if it was only 1-1, than I was for the previous two home games. I'm feeling a lot more encouraged about us. So yeah.
I will add as well. Sorry, Ben, just because I forgot to mention it, but you just reminded me. Platt and Critchlow, for me, and I will say it, and this might boost Liam up a bit, definitely the best centre-back partnership we played against. I thought they were class.
Critchlow himself was absolutely outstanding. He's really, really, come on. He was due the odd ricket at Swindon, but he seems to have cleared that up. So fair play to him.
Well, our esteemed guest from Monday and our host on Tuesday's already had a few mentions. So before we asked Wazza, Nick and Ned their opinions from the game, it seems only fair to give him his moment in the spotlight. So we're going to leave you for the next 40 odd seconds. In case you haven't seen it posted all over our various social, here's Liam's best moment from the game. The irony of him taking the pen from that end as well was beautiful.
I know. Ben said, I don't know if anyone's pointed this out yet, but apparently the last 4 games we played against Bradford, we've had penalties against them. So it's almost traditional now. So long may it carry on. And I love a last minute penalty against Bradford. It's like it's inevitable as dawn in the morning. Love it.
Before Nick's microphone fully escapes into his mouth and we go into the ASMR breathing again that we had pre-stream.
Sorry.
Let's hashtag let Nick speak and let us know your thoughts of the game and the whole afternoon. Really, as we say, you were living it up in luxury.
Oh, I was just obviously getting a bit excited then. Bradford Tuesday night under the lights with the Fools. What could be better? Scoreboard 90 minutes. Goes into stoppage time. We're attacking from the defenders through to the midfield, down the left-hand side. Ball's crossed in. Ball to hand to the defender. The referee looks, pauses, whistle blows, penalty. Yes, we go. We're going to get some out of this. The rest, Jepcott's got the ball, holding it, waiting. Referees trying to get players out of the penalty area. We're quiet. The tension.
Don't forget where the fan runs on the pitch.
Puts the ball on the spot, steps back, strikes it. Keeper dives to his left. Shit, he saved it. Despair. But wait, it's back to Jepcott, who smashes it into the net. Pandemonium in the Swindon fans. Everyone's going mad. I'm next to 13-year-old Jack, who's with 42-year-old Ben. I'm 68. We're jumping about like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning who's had the best present ever. And we're there with Rich and Warren and Woody and Craig and Fyfie. That's why I love football. That's why I love Swindon Town.
Yes, I'm putting it on record right now.
Thank you, gents. I love you all.
I'm calling it now. If Nick is not doing a CBeebies bedtime story and releasing audio tapes by Christmas, we fucking riot.
Stop, sack
Hey.
off Tom Hardy. Get Nick on it.
Forget Jack Anori. We've got Nick Anori now.
Nicanori. I'll take that, Ben. Ned, I'll take that.
Mike asking if Nick's now trying to get to do co-coms about yours.
Hang on. How's that?
He's got a hat
It'd be
too,
better than
hasn't
some
he?
of them.
He's got the old flat cap too, so he loved it.
Yeah, I was doing Andrew.
Oh, superb stuff, mate. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, no, seriously, meeting up with everybody, it was brilliant. Yeah, really good night. And meeting up again with a few on Saturday, so looking forward to that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Same again, please, Tam. I want another speech with Nick.
Wazza, you were one of the designated drivers amongst us. How was your afternoon and evening?
Well, we were a bit gutted that we missed the kebab, but that was down to the traffic on the M62 or something like that. It was just mental. It was just stop-start the whole way up, but it was worth it. And I said this on the way home to Woody and Craig. I said, just getting that point just makes it all worth it. The way it happened, the moment that you had that Nick's just described, it made it all worth it. Whether it was 4 hours there, 3.5 coming back, it was all worth it. On the game, I thought we were brilliant. I thought the first 15 minutes, we can say that Bradford were feeling us out, but I thought we started well. I thought we got on the ball. We tried to dictate our game to them, and I thought we were, I thought we were on it. And it killed us when Blake Tracy went off. Like Woody said, I thought that down that left side, that is a stroke of genius from Lindsay, because when Blake Tracy's back fit, that would be my left side every time now, because I thought we were brilliant. I thought they look solid. And because they can both play both positions, they just interchange lovely. When one of them went, the other one naturally howled. And I just thought it was really, really promising. As soon as that went off, I think Bradford had an impetus into the game. I thought they started to dominate. They deserved to be ahead. I was saying to Woody and Craig and Rich next to me, I said, when they scored that first, we just needed to get into the half-time just being 1-0 down, because they were all over us and we couldn't deal with them. They were knocking the ball around and they were finding gaps and they were creating off it. But then the second half, I just thought we were totally dominant. When you attack like we did in the second half, naturally there's going to be spaces. And I know Bradford, all the fans were going, we should have finished them off. Yeah, because we're trying to attack, and we're going to leave some gaps, and naturally that would have happened. And if they were good enough, they would have killed us off, but they weren't good enough in the second half performance. So I totally agree with what Garves has just said. That was one of my other points. Woody was sat next to me, and we were saying Calm was a little bit frustrating in the first half because he was dwelling on it and getting caught. But they obviously got into him in the second half, because all of our attacks come down from Khan. Whether it was him picking the ball up deep and carrying it 30 yards and starting the attack, or finding a clever pass, I thought he was brilliant in that second half. And he made the likes of Darcy and Gladwin improve, because he was finding those passes into him. And I thought he was absolutely top drawer. Wakelin, he worked his socks off, didn't he? And he deserved a goal. He had a couple of chances that he could have scored. And I just want to give a special mention to, I love Clayton, we all know that, but I thought Brennan, for his first game back in, I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was solid. He won his headers, he won his challenges. They've come up against a seasoned pro in Andy Cook that, You listen to Brennan's interview. He said there was a load of the dark arts that Cook was doing, and there was a load of the experienced striker stuff that he was doing against those two young centre halves. And I thought they stood up to it so well. I thought they were brilliant. And even with 15 minutes to go, they switched it up and they brought Oliver on again, who's another that's difficult to deal with. And I thought they were brilliant up against them. And I think Brennan will come on to Mansfield, but I think he deserves to keep his place after that. For me, he would stay ahead of Bowdry. I think he was absolutely brilliant. And just to end it, we deserve the point. I don't think we deserved any more. I think the draw was fair. Woody summed it up. They dominated the first half and deserved to be ahead, and we deserved the second half. And I think it's a very good point away against a side that's going to be up there with us at the top end of the league this season.
Yeah.
So there's no moaning.
I'm flashing up virtually every comment in the YouTube chat at the moment, but just for those commenting on Twitter, Paddy sent a couple in. For those of us who, I suppose I say those of us, virtually everyone who's watching this or be listening back follows us on one social or another. So they would see the match day content we were putting out in terms of pictures and tweets and stuff. Paddy tweeted in at Fools Rush In. Bravo to the brilliant at Miss Black Hippie. Her poem was fantastic. I felt honoured to get a mention. Love the photos of the Jolly Boys outing to Bradford. You guys are the cream of the crop, proper Swindon Town governors. And then followed it up with, oh man, that from at Road Ocus was up there with If by Rudyard Kipling. In fact, forget Kipling. He may have also made exceedingly good cakes, but Nick, take a bow, sir. And that goes alongside all the comments.
Can I just interlude for 1 second? Can I just say, German doner kebab, if you do want to open up in Swindon or anywhere local, please do. You have the finest kebab that I've ever eaten in all my life. And I will plug you to death, and I'll give you a BTB seal of approval. Just open one.
Stop winding me and Woody up, mate. We missed that. All right. Stop it. We had to deal with a dodgy Rustler's burger.
Oh, mate, you missed out. I'm sorry, but it was good. It was good. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's my shameless plug done with German doner kebab.
I like your attempt at getting us some sponsorship as well.
Freebies.
Work.
Especially when the nearest one's Reading.
Not for me.
In Cheltenham.
Not for me, and
We'll get all Christian on the case.
God. There is for those of us in the East Midlands, there is one in Leicester. There's also one in Loughborough.
Fyfie, can you
Yes,
just lower your microphone, mate? You look like Liam Gallagher there, mate.
No, I don't normally lean up to it. I don't know why I was doing it.
He's doing it like the guy off Smooth Radio.
Ned, obviously you had a different vantage point on the game than we all had. What was your take on it?
Well, I think Wazza sort of covered most of the stuff that I was going to say, which is unfortunate for my section. But oh, come on.
People prefer to hear it from you anyway.
But I mean, like, I wanted to say that I thought Lindsay was very brave in his choice. You know, of his first 11. I thought it was very brave, and I was certainly on the. I'm not entirely sure of what I make of this starting lineup, but it was brave. You know, obviously it didn't work fantastically well, but let's be honest. You know, we've all been sort of saying, "Oh, what if with this player? What if with this player?" But he was brave enough to make those changes, and we saw. So there's no more questions now. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's his face? Aguiar. You know, he sort of 50-50. You know, maybe 6 out of 10 for me. But like, it's nice to see him in that first 11. Just to, because obviously, just keep playing in these, you know, I call it Johnston Paint. Sorry, I can't even remember what it's called
Paint
nowadays.
Pot Trophy.
Yeah, that's the one. But you know,
Domino's Trophy, Pizza Hut.
That's the one. LDV, blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, it's you see him play well in them, and you think, oh, you know, what would it be like in the starting 11 for Swindon? But yeah, brave enough to make those decisions. But really, you know, when he made those changes in the second half, it really did make a difference. So, you know, absolute fair play. I think he's done very well with that. I wrote down a couple of points. Andy Cook was kept unbelievably quiet, you know, considering, you know, I think he's the joint top goal scorer in the league, is he? Or second, 1-2, but he was, you know, he barely even recognised that he was on the pitch, to be fair, certainly in that first half. Well, no, in the second half, sorry. It was a wonderful performance, and yeah, you know, massive amount of credit's got to go to both the Swindon Town centre backs, because they just kept them quiet the whole time. But yeah, the other points I put down was considering Bradford only scored 1 goal in 3 games. I emphasised 1 goal in 3 games. I thought they looked really dangerous. I really like Tyreek Wright. I thought he was a real handful.
Yeah.
Really good player. Really good player.
Thought, he was fantastic. And it's nice to see a team play well against us, because for all the other teams that we've seen so far this season, that was probably the most worried because of the opposition rather than how bad we were playing. So it's nice to see them playing well, and that just tells me everything I need to know about Bradford being a challenger for the title this year. But I just wanted to just say statistically as well, because obviously Swindon are big on statistics. Louis Reed is, I had a look on SofaSport, and they do their own stats, and Reed is still statistically our strongest outfield player. So if he's statistically the top player, there's got to be something more to the reason as to why he's not playing.
I don't think that's the case. Like, we were listening to, I know Lindsay's got a chuck blanket over the Flames, but I think people have got to give Khan a little bit more credit than what, than what he's keeping Reed out of the team. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. It's competition for places. I think Louis Reed's got to be aware of that. I agree. I'm a big fan of Louis Reed, massive fan of him. I think he's a talent. But you can see when Lindsay explains why, surely as a fan, you've got to understand that Khan is instigating a lot of attacks from that deeper role. And I didn't like him in that deeper role. But on Tuesday night in the second half, I thought he carried the ball. And Louis Reed's a bit more of he sprays passes around. He's not a carrier of the ball. So you can see where the argument lies. But Reed will get his chance. But I don't think there's nothing wrong inside. Maybe he will go in January. But that'll be down to if he's not playing enough football. Not that there's a problem, but...
Well, I hope so. But
I think Stockport will be telling when we go play Stockport in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
If Reed plays in that one, then it's all right. But if he doesn't play at all, then I think the rumours. I think there's some substance to it. Yeah, I honestly think the game was made round Khan because there was the space for him to pivot and turn and run into the gaps, because Bradford were trying to beat us outright. They weren't just going to sit on their 1-goal lead. I think when you're playing a wall, Reed's passing range may be more useful.
Yeah, I think as well. This is where, although I'm a fan of it in some ways, this is where the statistic-led game fails, because if based on Reed's last two performances were poor, doesn't matter what the stats say. There was misplaced passes. There was his off the ball positioning was pretty poor as well. There was obviously something not right, and then Khan's come in and played really, really well. So for that, Khan's come in and he's, we all said, I said on last pod Monday or whatever it was, and a few others also said, why change a winning team? And like as was already alluded to, Khan, I still don't really think he's a holding midfielder. But it's working. So it's working at the moment. He's obviously creating attacks. Was the game shouting for Reed? In my opinion, probably yes. But that's just based on what we saw. That's an interesting question. That was a question I was going to ask, but I thought I'd address it up a different way. Craig has asked the question, Ned, that I was going to ask.
If you really want me to, I can,
on,
but
Ned.
it's not interesting. Can
Well,
we do this off camera?
Well, Ned's looking for that.
Well,
can I just add a comment in which nobody's talked about in a moment? Is we've got Scott Lindsay, first time, call it manager, chief coach, whatever you want to call it, against Mark Hughes, ex-Premiership manager, Wales manager, and Lindsay outthought him. His tactics were better. He changed it second half, and that's what got us a result. So fair play to Lindsay. Really. That's right, Fyfie. Fair play to Lindsay. And you read some of the Bradford texts that were coming through, and that's exactly what they said. That Hughes didn't do anything for them to win that game in that second half. So top marks to Lindsay.
So while Ned finishes getting those stats together, I will just.
You actually want me to do it, right?
Yeah, no, actually, yeah. Well, we're killing time for you, Ned.
Okay.
Liam has tweeted in now because he is that talented. He's talking to us via 2 different mediums of communication. And he's put lead watching Fools Rush In on my phone, and the missus has got me to stream it to the TV. And she's mortified at how much my name comes up. She doesn't know I'm kind of a big deal. She is, however, loving the show, I think. I must say, she was also very polite and very welcoming when we just rocked up to me, Ben, and Jack just rocking up unannounced to say hello and meet and see Liam at his house. So so thank you very much and good evening.
Good evening.
I will have my say on this in a moment. I've got a lot to say. It looks like Ned still needs a bit more time to be killed. So I want to talk about the whole occasion just very briefly if I can. So, I mean, first of all, if anyone gets the opportunity, I know we joked about what the journey home might be like, but if anyone gets the opportunity to travel to a game with Ben, please do. Because I kid you not, he DJ'd the shit out of that journey. We had a mix of basically trance music, drum and bass, and noughties classics the whole way from Leicester to Bradford. It was amazing. What a playlist he had. I mean, Jack wasn't impressed, I'll be honest.
No,
but me and Ben were fucking loving it. As I say, we get to Liam's. And you know, nice to see him. Nice to actually meet Liam in person. He is as sound as he comes across on ours and his podcast. To be fair to him, all banter aside, he is a sound lad. Me and Ben got to try on the chicken head. Surprisingly heavy, it must be said. You assume it's going to be relatively heavy, but quite heavy. So fair play to him for doing that all the time. As Ben's mentioned, we did go to GDK's, and it is without question the best kebab I've ever had in my life. Sorry, Wazza and Woody. But that's all I'm going to say on that. For me, and this is going to be a bit soppy for our show, I'm sorry, but I'm going to throw it out there. For me, the game wasn't the best game I've ever watched in my life. It's not going to be a game I remember forever. But what I will remember was the occasion. Like, this is the first time so many of Fools Rush In have been together in one place. And I went on Lower League Look on Wednesday night when I had like no voice left whatsoever. And I said, and I absolutely stand by it, the moment that will remain with me was just after kickoff. There was the second rendition of the Wise Men Say chant. And we were all stood in a line, and we just all basically looked up and down the line at each other, and simultaneously everyone's hands in the air, and we were screaming that chant out. And that is the moment that will stay with me from that game, was us all just really happy, essentially singing our own chant in the egotistical way that only we could do it.
In my mind, the Swindon fans were singing it to us, not the team.
Yeah, I knew someone was thinking it. But no, I mean, it was a great afternoon, great evening out, great to see the guys. I definitely think we deserved a point. I clearly was watching a different game to everybody else, but we've always said this is why we love football, is because people can have different opinions on exactly the same thing. I didn't think we started well, but Liam had told us that's what Bradford would do. I thought they basically went up through the gears and outplayed us for the rest of the first half, got a deserved goal.
Yeah.
I thought second half, both sides had spells. The comments earlier that Khan in the first half was frustrating, yes, and then Gladwin decided to do a Khan impression in the second half. Every time he got the ball, he lost it, fell over, threw his arms in the air. And I was like, what am I watching here? Wakeling deserves a lot of praise. I thought he did play well. There's going to be people who assume there's a vendetta. There's not, but I honestly, and me, Nick, Ben, and Liam had the conversation after the game. Shade has got to be the most ineffectual footballer I've ever seen on a football pitch ever. Like, I'm sure,
Oh.
Nick, I'm sure he is a lovely, lovely guy. But he was anonymous on the pitch. Like, I think he touched the ball maybe twice. And like Liam said to me afterwards, he didn't notice Shade was on the pitch, apart from that last free kick at 1-1 when Shade was doing, is it called the draft excluder, and had to do a little roll because he was too far forward. That's the only time he even noticed he was on the pitch. I thought if Bradford had wanted to, they could and would have won the game. I agree. Defensively, we generally looked okay. We handled it. We handled their attack well. I thought our play was quite pedestrian at times and very one-dimensional. Our only tactic was to pump it long into the wings, and but it was effective. And whether that's because Lindsay completely outclassed Mark Hughes, I don't know. Did we get a bit fortunate? Possibly. Did we deserve it? Absolutely. I said before the game, I was one of the few that said we would win. I think had we have maintained how we were playing for that first 15, 20 minutes, we would have won. I think, like I say, I think a draw was fair. Bradford will probably feel that they threw the points away. But if we can back that draw up with a win tomorrow, I think it's a very good point in the end. Yeah. Is how I would look at it. Yeah. Ned, have I killed enough time for you? Good lad. Off you go. Will I catch up with all the comments that I've not flashed up on the screen yet?
Right. Okay. So it's quite a big list of things that takes into consideration. So it's accurate long balls per game, accurate passes per game, assists, big chances created, big chances missed, clean sheets, clearances per game, interceptions per game, key passes per game. No, it doesn't include that. Possession loss per game. Obviously cards, scoring frequency, shots on target per game, successful dribbles per game, tackles per game. So yeah.
We're not laughing at you, man.
So yeah, it's quite a few things it takes into consideration, but there we go. But statistically, he's still our strongest player. Also, interestingly, on the stats, Sol Bryn is our strongest player, stats-wise, and Harry Lewis is just beneath him in the stats. So, fuck you.
Come on, Ned.
There you go. Take that to the bank. So there we go.
I'm still. I mean, that's brilliantly insightful. Now I'm still trying to catch up with all the comments as well. Before we do move on, did anyone else have anything they wanted to pick up on what Ned's pulled out there, or any of the other comments anyone's made with regards to the Bradford game? I will take the stunned silence as a no. in which case, let's move on. And
do you know what? I will just read out who the top four are. There you go. Yeah. Sam Hoskins is number one. Arthur Reed, who I've never even heard of, is number two. Elliot Watt and Richard Smallwood are the top four. So there we go.
Good to know.
Statistically.
Let's look ahead then to tomorrow and another difficult looking opposition, Mansfield away. Nick, you're going. What are you expecting?
Before the Bradford game, obviously we said 2 tough games coming up, but after the Bradford game, I'm actually quite confident that we'll get a result in Mansfield. The team, as we said, second half we were much improved. Depends how much he tinkers with the team. Hopefully there aren't too many changes. I'm quite positive that we can go there and get a result. I believe they've lost 1 game at home in the last 12 months. So obviously it's about time they lost another one. So
Every time
maybe the
someone
timing's
brings these
good.
stats up, it
I
amuses
think
me.
they got the last 2 games, they draw 0-0 and they got beat by Crawley. So, they're on a couple of games on a downer, which could work for us, could work against us. It's obviously what happens on the day. So, to be honest, I don't know that much about their players, who they've got in. I'm guessing with their manager, they've got, a decent squad. They've probably got some dangerous players. But, if we play like we did Tuesday night, every opportunity of getting a result there, which I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. How about yourself, Wazza? Are you full of confidence after the performance midweek?
Yeah, it was great. These away games are tough, and these are tough places to go. We've never had, I went last year to Mansfield, and they're a tough side, whether they're in good form or not. Or bad form. They're a tough side. They're physical. They make you defend. They've got, some Akins at the top end of the pitch. They've got some energy in the middle of the park. I really like that. I alluded to when we did the pre-season one. Hiram Boateng, I thought he's a really good talent at this level in midfield, and someone I thought we should have been looking at. Really good, strong in the middle. I'd probably go against the mould here, but I've always known win your home games and get what you can away, and I would take a draw tomorrow again.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I know it sounds boring, but
Wait, hang on. Let's quantify this. You take a draw, but are you expecting to go and win?
No. I'm not expecting us to go and win. Yes,
always go into every game expecting to win. Otherwise, what's the point in going?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I can see what your point. Obviously, Lindsay's going there going, yes, we're going to win the game. Am I expecting us to win? No. I think it's a tough place to go, like I've just said, and I think they are a good side. I've always rated Clough. I think he's a manager that gets them going. They went on a hell of a run back end of last season, and they will be tough. And I think we'll have to freshen it up again. I think Lindsay was right to freshen it up Tuesday. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few changes again, especially in the middle of the park. The Blake Tracy issue will be solved because Iandolo will go straight in at left back. But I think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. I don't think just because we got a draw away at Bradford doesn't mean that makes Mansfield easy. You know what I mean? That's definitely not the case. And I want us to win, of course I do. But away there is a tough place, and gives me a point tomorrow, and then we can roll into 4 home games after the FA Cup. No problem.
You can see, yeah.
Ned, if you're having a conversation, you might want to mute it, Ned. You can hear me.
That Fyfie's a right prick, isn't he? Sorry.
Right, well, I was going to ask you next, Ned, but whether your kids there or not, you can fuck right off. Would you?
Probably being over optimistic here, but I did say in the car to Wazza and Craig on the way up that if we didn't get 4 points out of the next 2 games, I'd be questioning whether we are top 7 material. They are hard places to go to, but I think we have a pretty good record at Mansfield. I know I've definitely been to a game there recently where we've won. I can't remember what we did at their place last season. I think I went possibly the season before. I think we'll win. I think although they drew, they had arguably, I think they played half an hour with only 10 men on Tuesday night against Newport. So you could argue that wasn't a bad result for them in the greatest scheme of things
as well.
Yeah, exactly. But it just goes to show this league is fucked. It really is. There's just there's no team now that I would genuinely feel comfortable going. We were the only team for ages that managed to take points off Leyton Orient. It's just all over the place. I wouldn't even say it's the quality of the teams. I just generally think it seems that there's a new surprise package every single week. But that being said, I'm still remaining positive. I said I think we were going to get 4 points out of these 2 games, and I think we will win. because we got that 1 point on Tuesday. That was I think that point, as much as you guys know how much I hate draws, that draw was very, very good. It was a very important draw, especially leading into a tricky tie at Mansfield. So I do think we'll scrape it, and I think what Tuesday did show, I think we haven't really spoken about this properly yet, is that we can bring on players and they can still be effective, apart from Shade. We brought in Yandelo. That was Yandelo's first time he's played 90 minutes, in however long. Khan, we know that although he may not be everybody's cup of tea, we've seen him play in holding midfield. We know he can. That means we've got Reed in the backup. We've got, the front three options. Jeff got come off the bench and was really, in my opinion, really good on Tuesday. So I think the depth in our squad is gonna be what wins us the game on Saturday. The fact that we have got those little tweaking options that we can do. So I'm feeling relatively positive. Yeah.
Buddy, did you see the clip of Tommy in training scoring a goal?
Tony?
Yeah, Adeloy
Adeloy.
2 yards on the line.
Oh, him.
2 yards.
Is he back tomorrow, Fyfie? Any whispers?
Completely on his own.
On the bench, I should think.
As the only Swindon fan that wants him to play, you think I hear whether he's in the team or not?
I just, in your head, you'll probably think he could be.
Judging by the state of that sick finish in training, absolutely.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, was that him? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays that much, you don't even remember what he looks like.
I thought it was Shade. He's there as well. I guess Adeloy, he's there as well. I guess if we need to, the guy who always travels but is only in the squad if someone gets injured. He's a really good, that type of, kind of 18th man or whatever.
I would say, all banter aside, it does say a lot for either his fitness, form, or what Lindsay thinks of him, that he can't even get on the bench, yet Shade is playing a starring role in the team.
That's very true. That's very true.
Ben.
I shall not call him a shade of himself.
Oh, the pun game is strong with this one. Ben, talk to us about Mansfield.
I feel quite positive about it. I think a repeat performance could bring 3 points. I think Mansfield pose a similar sort of issues or problems that Bradford would have. I think they're a similar type team. Also, could be quite physical.
Being average and playing with a handbrake on.
Well, Clough is also an experienced manager who knows his division quite well.
Lindsay masterstroke coming there.
Yeah. However, they're not in particularly great form at the minute. I think they might be a little bit tetchy. I think they could be got at, and I think we have absolutely nothing to fear going into the game. And I think Bradford just gave that little confidence for it, just to have a go at them. And if we can start the game as we did on Tuesday, I have no doubt we'll come away with 3 points.
There is nothing to fear but fear itself, Ben.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going. Are we doing predictions now? Scores now?
Not yet. Don't be premature, Ben.
Sorry, premature.
Just think of the reverse Barcelona. You'll be fine.
The reverse Barcelona. That would keep going. I think. I'm going for a good win. Good win Saturday.
Ned, are you ready to play nicely now and talk to us about Mansfield?
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, my apologies. Again, everyone's alluded to the fact already that this is probably the best time to play Mansfield so far, isn't it? With their latest form, but it's the same week in, week out. If we play our game, then we can easily beat anyone, in my opinion, because we play differently to other teams. They might be great against blue and shithouse teams, but Swindon's another kettle of fish. And when we've got confidence running through our veins, there's not many teams that can stop us. So as far as I'm concerned, do you
remember? No. Do you remember how we always say that Swindon can't shithouse teams? Look what we did on Tuesday.
It wasn't shithouse.
Stephen Fyfe's laid out love.
In fairness, that wasn't shithouse because we didn't defend for 90 minutes and we actually were creating chances.
Sorry, carry on, Ned.
Honestly, I'm so impressed with how we're playing at the moment. Well, certainly in that second half, it's so good. I'm genuinely, because you think about it, Bradford, I mean,
Created a lot of chances.
Their squad are champions elect, as far as I'm concerned. They've got 18 or so, best players in the league, and for us to be able to, turn it around, play decent standard of football against them, it speaks to, how much Lindsay's come on. It speaks to how, some of the, other members of the squad have come on. I'm just so impressed with it at the moment. I'm very, very positive. Very positive.
Bang on, Ned.
Oh, I thought it said hang on.
No.
Hang on.
Bang on, Ned.
So, Ben, on that point, Ben was quoting stats at me when I was driving down the motorway on Tuesday night. And I can't remember the exact numbers. I'm sure one of you probably have it ready. If not, Ned will have it ready in no time. Ben said something along the lines of, we had 17 shots on goal and X amount on target. And I went, when? When did we have all these shots? I remembered maybe 6 shots and every single one of them went wide.
I'm going to totally disagree with you here, Fyfie. This was the first game that I remember that we actually had shots on goal. Like, it was like Wakelin himself must have had about 3 or 4.
Yes, and every single one went wide.
Fyfie, you must have been freezing cold because you were only in your t-shirt. I think you must have not been watching.
But this is what I'm saying. We were all stood together, and this is why we love, because we were watching 2 completely different games.
You had frostbite or something, mate.
I did have fucking frostbite.
I wish I'd lent you my body warmer now.
Honestly, mate, you were sweating. I was perfectly ambient.
So 17 total shots, 8 of which on.
Right, there is no way we've had 17 shots in that game.
We did, Fyfie.
I have no idea where those 17 shots have come from.
Well, bearing in mind, Jeff Gott's goal was 2. We've been submitting some pre-match questions, by the way, the usual quiz questions. But before we do, let's get the score predictions. Let's start with Wazza.
I got it bang on Tuesday night. Did anyone watch the video that Nick put up?
Yeah, bang on.
Yeah, I'll take that. As funny as it sounds, I want to say 1-1 again because I think it could be. But after Fyfie's criticised me for saying that I'm not expecting us to win, I'm going to say that the Town are going to go 2-1. Someone take that toffee cider away from him, please. He's getting low.
Fyfie's drinking again. He's getting aggressive.
Was it which town?
Oh, very good, Ben. Yeah, Swindon Town 2-1, mate. Thank you.
Tim, you'd be surprised how many people do message us to say we only watch for the end of show games.
End of the show.
Ben, score prediction, please.
Do you know, we should set up a school prediction league, see who gets the nearest.
No, because we're fundamentally shit at it.
I know, it should be good. I am going at 3-1 Swindon, like we did under Flitcroft's reign. What a wanker he was.
That's the game I was actually.
Nick?
I was going to say 2-0, but we always seem to concede. So I've got to agree with Warren. I'm going to go 2-1 as well.
Woody?
Oh, here we go. 4 what?
4-4.
The game is going to be 1-0 Swindon.
Oh,
wow.
I would love it if it is.
Sade was the winner.
Who?
Sade, the winner.
Shade.
So I believe we stood there at half time and I said we really need it to be Sade tonight and not Shade. And for about 40 seconds, we sort of shouted down, no, it's definitely Shade.
Yeah, we asked for Sade mode to be activated and it wasn't activated. Just like him, I think the button got caught.
Ned, we've had 4 predictions of a Swindon win. Are you going to make it a full house?
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0. Lovely.
Let's go.
I also, for what it's worth, do think Swindon will win tomorrow. I will go for do you know what? I'm going to go for 3-1. I think I'll agree with Ben. 3-1 Swindon. And this will be the attacking display that we've been waiting for. And I'll come away and I'll say on Monday, yes, we had 17, 18, 19 shots.
I was just about
Some
to
of
say,
them were
Fyfie,
on
make
target.
Sure make sure you watch the shots. You know what I mean?
Right, that's it. Fyfie needs
You
to
need
have
one of those
a-
clicker counters.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another one. Was that a
I'm
shot
pretty
or a
sure
cross?
it's
Oh,
like-
fuck, it's a shot.
Tuesday
Click,
night,
click.
he would have missed a load of them.
It was cold. It was cold.
Get him an abacus.
Mansfield, you're behind the goal as well, Fyfie, so you got no excuse.
Okay. What about the ones down the other end?
Yeah, just guess.
Right, the pre-match questions. I forgot where we were for a moment there. Pre-match questions. They have, as always, been submitted by John, who has done his research for us.
Hi, John.
John.
He says, if he can find the questions. So, 1 second, I wasn't prepped for it.
Yeah, you weren't watching. Ned was blowing smoke then, aimed in your direction.
What a comment from Mike. Drinking the shots, not counting them.
Oh, dear.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Right, you need to get back on the water for these next pods, mate.
No, it's because we were having a conversation afterwards and I forgot. And I was like, where are the questions? He's definitely sent them. There's that comment, by the way, from Mike. It deserves a recognition.
Yeah.
There are 3 questions, just a simple 3 to get you warmed up. And then we have an interesting question that's also been sent in by Claire for your attention as well. So question number 1. What legend defender did Swindon sign from Mansfield in 1985 for £25,000 English pounds?
Calderwood.
Colin Calderwood.
Calderwood is correct.
Yeah.
Well done.
They're
Question
bitter about
number-
that, you know. They're bitter about that one.
Question number 2. Who scored his first goal for Swindon in August 2021 against Mansfield?
Ooh, 2021.
McCurdy?
Nope.
Oh, Simpson.
Simpson is correct.
Well done, Ben.
Question number 3, and this is more of a recognition question than an actual quiz question. But which Fools panel member has kindly given him, John, a lift to Mansfield tomorrow?
Friday night
Go.
Joe. Friday night
Friday
Joe.
night Joe.
Friday night
Friday
Joe.
night Joe.
Friday Night Joe.
Friday Night
Night
Joe
Joe.
has agreed to take John, who has had transport issues, but you've put that silhouette of my face up in the sky like the bat signal, and one of the fools will come to the rescue.
Well, we've
And
got,
in
to
this-
help we've got to help our friends out, haven't we? And John, being a fool himself, because he's been on the show.
He has been on before, yeah.
So he's a fool himself. So, yeah, we've got to help him.
John, you fool.
Cool, John.
Regular
You fool.
competition as well.
You absolute fool, John.
Absolute
Absolute.
fool. And in regular competition, person who writes in a lot. And
But yeah,
Continue.
evening to John, and massive respect to Joe for stepping up and saying that
Well done,
he
Joe.
will take care of it. Liam wants to go in Nick's jag.
We all do. Liam, that's his company car. That's what we've given him for being on the
Yeah. That's
He
on
was driving
expenses.
That's
He was
what
on
I've
a
had, that's what I've had to
he
pay
was on
him
a
to
reli-
keep him from going on to other podcasts.
He was on a Reliant Robin.
Nick gives Fyfie's expensive to go to away games.
Guys,
Very
the next
premium.
The next question has been sent in by Claire. Question for you all. If the season ended now, who would you be picking as your player of the season? I would like to start this one with Nick, please.
Oh, give me a chance to think about it.
No.
Thank you. It's got to be the keeper.
Yeah.
Solbury?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Ben?
I have to agree. Best keeper in the world. Best keeper in the league.
Let's keep it in the world.
There we go.
I know.
In the world.
That was,
So,
that
everyone
was my
in the
fraudulent
country,
idea the other
in the
day.
league.
I did that purposely.
To give you a peek inside the curtain, as it were, while we were all out having dinner the other night, we were all having a conversation about Swindon of last year, and Ben, bold as brass, turned around to me and Liam and said, "Yeah, last year Swindon were one of, if not the most entertaining football club in the world." And we just both sort of looked at each other. Me and Liam basically went, like, clarifying we both heard the same thing. And I went, "In the world?" And Ben went, "Oh, no, sorry, no. My mouth engaged before my brain. I didn't mean in the world, in the country." And me and Liam looked at each other again and went, "In the country?"
In Wiltshire.
You see how my mind works. It doesn't not properly. That's how my mind works.
So we've got one vote for Bryn. Where are you going, Ned?
You dare.
Oh, I'm not going to vote for a non-loan player. I'm not going to vote for a non-loan player because that's against the rules as far as I'm concerned. I believe the player of the season so far for me has been Clayton.
Okay.
Shade. Second, of course, is Shade. But
Shade.
yeah, Clayton for me.
How about you, Wazza?
Totally agree with Ned. Stole the words out of my mouth. Clayton, he goes unnoticed in games as a defender because he is so good. He is, without McDonald, without Bowdry, he guided Brennan through a game on Tuesday night. I thought he was top draw, and I think he has been top draw. And I'm vice president of the Tom Clayton fan club with Joe. So, yeah, there's... And Ned, you can join it now. All right, we'll get you in another vice president.
You can be the, I don't know, what's the next one? The Chancellor or something?
Yeah, something, we'll work something out. But
You be the groupie.
yeah, but yeah, for me, Clayton's been outstanding. And like, if the season stopped now, he'd be my player of the season, no doubt.
Okay, so we've got one for Bryn, two for Clayton. How about you, Ben?
Bryn, the keeper. I think he's been on. He's been there from the off. BT is a brilliant shout by Joe, by the way. But Bryn, he's been outstanding. He's the best keeper in the league by far. He's outdone what we saw from Wallacott last season. We all thought he was amazing. He's such a good goalkeeper. A big up yours to the fans that gave him grief at the start of the season as well. What a joke.
Now, I'm inclined to agree. Before I say anything, I am inclined to agree. But can we at least recognise that every, not all superheroes wear capes, and every superhero has their kryptonite, and his is definitely distribution.
Oh,
Well, yeah. He was brought in to be a sweeper keeper, isn't it? Play it on the floor, and when he's asked to lump it, there's not a lot for him to lump it to because we're not a big team up front. So he just boots it out for a throw-in.
Yeah, but that's a tactic, isn't it? Because it's no good lumping up to the centre forward of Wakeling because he's never going to win anything in the air. So the ball will come straight back at us. The best thing to do is lump it out and for a throw-in, and it keeps them in their own half. So it's good tactics from Lindsay.
Top that. Ellis was quality. He won a few headers on that Tuesday night, being on that left side. You don't hump it. You don't just pump it down the middle. Totally agree.
No, as I said, 15 minutes ago, we just pump it out wide.
Yeah.
And just get people to chase. Our tactic is hope that we've got faster players in the opposition.
Works for Bradley Walsh. Works for
Sounds
us.
like you're criticising it, Fyfie, though.
It's good to have balance. We can't all just be saying that a draw away at Bradford is a superb result.
Wakeling isn't going to win these headers against 6'5" centre halves.
No.
Maybe we need a physical presence in certain games.
Here goes Adeloy.
Because the fucking physicality of Adeloy definitely wasn't proven in the 30 minutes that he played or whatever he's played this season. Like you can tell if a player's physical or not, regardless of how many they've played.
Right, who did I go to? So we've done the four. So it's Woody. Woody's the only one who's not had his say yet.
I know what Woody's going to say.
I am thinking really hard about this one.
Say his name, but Woody, you can't not do it.
I 100% agree with Ned, by the way. I don't think it should go to loan players, so I'm not going to go for FBT or Bryn, even though I think Bryn has been one of our better players. and it is incredibly biased, but it is Wakelin. I'm sorry, but even when he's not scoring, he's one of our most effective players on the pitch. So it's, he was the one that got the penalty, as much as Sky Sports said it was Yandelo, it was Wakelin's cross. His work
triple
rate.
check that as well.
I did. I triple checked that, and I just think he's been. Yeah, you can't. The thing is, I don't remember a bad game he's had. Bryn hasn't had a bad game, but for me, as Ned said, he's a lone player. I remember a bad game from Blake Tracy. I remember a bad game from Clayton. It's not a bad game. Clayton would be very close. But for me, all day, Wakelin, he's the reason. I generally think he's the reason we are where we are in the league.
Oh,
God. No, you can't say that now, because the very people that keep going on that name only gave Wakelin a bloody 6 on Saturday. Bloody Hannahs. And gave Shade a 7. Shade only made one pass backwards the whole game, and he got bloody 7.
Boys, you should have seen this meltdown halfway down the M6 on the way home from Woody.
Oh, mate, if it was anything, if Woody's meltdown was anything like mine, Ben turns around and says, "Oh, look at these ratings are interesting," and I turn around and said, 7? What the fuck?
Who was the other one he gave him? I'm sorry, Hannahs, I'm calling you out here. I don't know if you're watching, or if you will watch.
He's far too important to be watching our little show.
Those ratings, I couldn't agree. Less.
But I'm going to say, Shade was involved with the build-up of the equaliser. So
fuck off, Ben.
Because he passed it backwards. He passed it backwards for Wakelin to do what fucking Shade should have done in the fucking first place.
I do feel I don't want us to come across as a little witch hunt against Shade, because
it's not. It's not.
What, in case we're ever fortunate enough that the club let us have players without us just going getting them ourselves?
Yeah, look, I'm just saying, Shade has had positive games, and
give me one. Give me one and tell me what he did.
Give me one game.
Don't give me the one where he accidentally scored.
Yeah, don't give me the game where his absolute rocket shot rolled across the floor and the goalkeeper was so busy pissing himself he let it roll in, or the one where he completely miskicked the ball that it hit his standing foot and the defender just looked on in complete disbelief of what had just happened.
He looked really good.
Oh, yeah. And when Shade played that ball back, by the way, he was in the left wing position when he was supposed to be playing a 10.
Just got
sorry. Anyway, I joke. I will stand by it. He is a very 5-6 out of 10 every week, so he's not extremely poor. But I'm sorry, he's not. There are players that should be in our team before him. For me,
I do want to be fair with him a little bit, because at times he does show promise. He is very frustrating, which is why he gets a lot of stick. There is times he does show promise, and he's.
That's it.
Hopefully,
I've been called out for my comments tonight. And you're letting Ben get away with that shit.
I get called out every bloody week.
Mikey, don't worry, I was about to dive in. I don't think that. I honestly think when Blake Tracy is fit, that Blake Tracy Iandolo thing is going to be a left-sided thing that we're going to play at home, as well as, you know what I mean. I don't think that Shade's going to get anywhere near the team. I honestly don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I do, yeah. When also
people, I'm calling this out now. I'm calling this out. People are too high on sugar. I think some people need to go to bed and reevaluate things.
I think they're winding you up, Fyfie.
They are winding me up, good and proper. But there is a question still to be answered. And I have seen a couple of comments, and the one player who hasn't really got a fair mention yet is someone who I actually moaned about earlier, and I'm going to say my choice would be Gladwin.
I was just about to say that same.
So you can't have a great game every game. But I think Gladwin has been, from the few games I've been able to attend and from the ones that I've either listened to or watched on iFollow, he has, without question, been our most influential and consistent player.
Yeah, fair.
I think it shows where we are at the moment, actually, is a team, that we've got a lot of players performing it around the 8 level. And the ones that have all been mentioned have been pretty consistent. And I think that's why we're 5th, 6th in the league. Again, if we can just step it up that little bit, and then we could really go on, and we can do some harm to teams. So I think overall, we haven't really got that many weak spots in that team or in the squad. Yeah, some players will obviously have a bit of a loss of form, won't play as well week in, week out. But on the whole, I think we've been very, very consistent player-wise. The team hasn't always, for want of a better word, gelled and played as we know they can. But once we hit that, then, it's there. It's top three still there. Top three.
Yeah, top three is still there.
So sorry, Nick. Mike's done me there.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw it. Let me just flash it back up for you, Nick.
Fyfie, all jokes aside, I don't disagree with your thing. Gladwin was my second. I think
I was thinking about that.
Gladwin's up there.
Yeah, he's been a senior member. He's looked like a leader, which has been really good. He communicates with the players. I think he's been spot on. I don't disagree with you at all. I think he's been.
That makes a change for tonight.
Yeah, all right, mate. All right.
It was the first time you weren't talking utter bollocks, Fyfie.
Yeah.
Just before we move on to the extra time feature, just a note for what's going on next week. Obviously, we were very lucky throughout October. We've had a number of quality guests. There's been lots of games to talk about, but things do start to quieten down. There's less midweek fixtures coming up. However, we still want to provide the best content we possibly can. So obviously Monday night we'll be back to review the Mansfield game, and of course it's a Halloween special, so not that I'm putting any pressure on, but any panelists turning up are expected to be in some form of fancy dress. So that's everyone saying not available, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, what am I doing
Can't make it
Monday?
Monday.
On your own, Fyfie.
Yeah, just me sat here. My
5 black squares.
my outfit for Halloween is already hanging up over there. So there you go. Prepare.
I think you better invite Danny on then. She's already geared up.
Well, indeed. Yes, we've all seen Danny's very good, very impressive Halloween outfit. And next Friday, so despite there being no midweek game, we are putting a show on next Friday, and that is because a week on Sunday is actually Fools Rush In's second anniversary or second birthday. A week on Sunday, we have been doing this for 2 years. Congratulations, everybody. So somehow we've managed to keep it going. The aforementioned Friday Night Joe is actually preparing a little quiz for us for Friday night. So hopefully as many as possible are able to make it as we celebrate our second podcast.
it's not entirely
birthday. It's not entirely what? Sorry.
It's not entirely Scottish, like second. It's not entirely Scottish second division sort of questions or anything, is it?
You would have to ask him. All he has told me is that he has prepared a football quiz for us, and that is what we will be doing to celebrate or in advance of our second podcast birthday. So that is what is coming up on Fools Rush In next week. But the Halloween episode, I forgot to say, we mentioned way back at the start of the month, the Halloween episode, we had a special announcement. So that announcement is good to go and will be said on Monday. So I do hope you are able to join us. As Danny herself tweets in, enjoyed what I can hear of the show, everyone. I have poorly children, so I'm upstairs giving snuggles whilst being a little bit jealous of Garth listening downstairs who think I've just heard my name. Well, let's just say her name a few more times. Hope's all good, Danny. I hope you can listen back, Danny, and you're always welcome to watch or listen along. And if you ever want to come on, of course, Danny, you're more than welcome as well. But let's move on because we are heading into the extra time feature. And despite, as Woody tweeted earlier, he felt it imperative to point out to everybody that despite him not being actively involved anymore, we were still going to provide as best content and updates as possible. So the floor, sir, is yours.
Yeah, unfortunately, I won't get much inside information because I have quickly been removed from all of the chats and all of the OneDrives quicker than Truss was in Prime Minister's Force. So
you were in charge for just about as long.
I think I'm in about 2 more chats, and that's because I've still got kit to give back. Gonna make him sweat. So yeah, obviously there was a game last night as well. I was hoping to get it, but I didn't get back from my holidays in time. The first team
Gardening
had
leave.
gardening leave. Yep, thank you. First team had Maidenhead. A good chance to really push into that top half of the table, which was great. And they won 3-0. Great result for James's side. And Annie Colston didn't score, which is probably the biggest surprise of the night. She's rubbish, really, isn't she? She's not. I love Annie. Annie, I love you, and thank you very much for my message when I left. But yeah, there were goals from Helena, Becky, and apparently an absolute. I'm not going to use the word I used to you, Fyfie, but an absolute a powerful goal from Natalie Goodright, which is great because Natalie's one of. Although we shouldn't boast her too much because she's probably the one keeping Beth out of the team at the moment. But it's really good. Natalie has been with the club for a long, long time, so I'm really glad when I see her name, popping around in and around the score sheet, all the assists. So hopefully the highlights will be out soon, and we can all have a look at that. In terms of this weekend, the first team are away against Chelsea, who some might remember. I think that was the first league game of the season. They're playing him in the National League play. Now, I don't think James's priorities. I was going to quote that one. Mike's just put up on there actually, but I'm not 100% sure on it. But yeah, if Mike says it, it's probably true. I know Mike. She used to play for me. But I don't know if James is treating this competition with priority, so I expect to see some changes possibly made. He could prove me wrong, but it's a long way to go, so he might take a slightly smaller squad and maybe give some of those who are returning from injury, hopefully Beth, some game time as well. The development team are at Fairford. They are against Bridgewater, who obviously they lost 9-1 to at the beginning of the season on the first game. So it'd be quite interesting to see if although they're playing them in quite quick turnaround, it'd be quite interesting to see if there is much improvement there. But yeah, that is under 18s have got a friendly against Ashton Keynes, but obviously that's quite small news really. But yeah, hopefully it'll be
Let's
good.
not downplay it.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's difficult because the under 18s, some of their players play for Ashton Keynes because Ashton Keynes are Sunday football. So I don't know how seriously the friendly's going or whatever, if that makes sense. I think it's just both teams haven't played for a couple of weeks, so they're playing, just getting a game under their belts.
I'd like to actually just take a moment and thank the various members of SCWFC. Obviously, we've been fortunate enough to have a couple appear on our podcast in the past, but I've noticed in recent weeks a few more names have been popping up, both in the chat comments and liking and retweeting some of our posts. So thank you very much, because you don't have to do that just because we're trying to talk the women's game up. That doesn't mean that we kind of expect any sort of interaction or recognition for it, but the fact that you ladies appreciate it and are doing so, thank you very much. We it means a lot to us as well. Thank you. Woody, question for you, Woody.
I haven't got it. Cal's got it. Cal's got it.
And we've got more comments here coming in from Tim, which I will just flash up on the screen. But I think, gentlemen, that concludes the fun and shenanigans for tonight. It's been fun. It's been interesting going from the overly positive one on Monday to the ridiculed negative one on Friday, despite all going together to the same game. It's been interesting, but never is it not entertaining spending a couple of hours with you guys on a Friday night. And thank you as ever to everyone who's been watching or listening along, commenting on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter as well. And the audio version of this episode will be available to all the hundreds. And we have to say, by the way, just one last thing. Quality to see that we've sold out the initial allocation for tomorrow and that there's only pay on the day tickets available left. So for all of the travelling Swindon fans, have a safe journey, and make sure that you roll the team on to bring back. Do I want to click on this private chat box before I close the show, or are we okay? I'm guessing by your reactions, I'll finish signing off before I look at it. Safe travels to all the travelling fans. Bring back the 3 points. Come on, you Reds.
Go on, you Reds.
Come on.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling